some breed. It's just breed today. As you're watching this, it'll be coming out New Year's or New Year's Eve. And so I think the New Year is a really great time for a lot of reasons. I love personally to reflect, to see where I've grown, what I've done really well, what I could have done better in, and just to kind of evaluate where I'm at in life. And so I think the New Year gives us a great time to do that because we're thinking about what's to come. And so for me personally, I like looking back on the past couple years, and areas I want to change and get better in. So this video is going to be just some of the ways that either I've seen God working in my life 2021, or even what God has shown me. I think this year has been really interesting for me because I've grown in so many different ways that I didn't expect to or even specifically know I needed growth in. And so God was faithful, and He brought me through different situations, and He also showed me a lot about Himself, which is so cool to see. Just my knowledge of God to grow that much deeper in 2021. And so I'm just going to share a couple of the things that I've learned, the most impactful things, and how God has used them. So we'll start at the beginning. In 2021, I was very consistent in my devotions. Last semester of high school, I was pushing hard, but also spiritually doing pretty well too. I was taking 2 Bible classes that semester, for 2 college Bible classes, and both of those had changed so much of how just my understanding of the Bible. And I realized how proud I was that I knew so much about the Bible. But the Old Testament and New Testament courses really just solidified what the Bible's all about, the plan of redemption throughout the whole Bible, each theme in each book, each theme in the Old and New Testament. It just really blew my mind, to be honest, how much was in there that I didn't see. Specifically in the Old Testament, I learned a lot of how God was faithful throughout the entire Old Testament. I know it seems so just saying it seems really simple, but for me, I never realized how profound of an impact that God had, even in the Old Testament, how providential every situation was, every ruler was, even their times of exile, God was faithfully pursuing His people. And so that was definitely one of the biggest takeaways this year, and how faithful God is, and just how good He is to draw us to Himself. Okay, so I'm fast forward a little bit. April, May, I was not as consistent. It was just crazy, finishing up the classes, finishing up high school, and then we went on a huge family trip for 3 weeks, which you probably saw the vlog of. And I really struggled, to be honest. I didn't see much point in Bible reading, and it was so weird to go from such several months of intense growth and intense Bible knowledge to being very apathetic. And so that kind of showed me just how none of this I can do on my own, because I thought I was in a really good place, and then I went a week without doing my devotions, then 2 weeks, and then I didn't really see a point for a little while. And I think I still grew more of my understanding of the Bible, but I definitely wasn't as faithful as I could have been. Then fast forward to CIT, I went June, July, a couple weeks, and CIT has definitely changed my life. I can say that on so many levels. I did a whole CIT video, I'll link that down below, but God really used those 2 weeks to really refocus me, to show me so much I needed to grow in. It was honestly rather humbling, because I thought it was how to be a Christian leader type camp, but really it was how to be the most Christ-like you can be. A lot of personal growth, character development was done during those 2 weeks, and I'm so grateful for the training that I had there. So those 2 weeks were 2 of the best weeks of my life, hands down. I loved the sessions. We had so many good sessions, so many good speakers, and then to come home and try to apply those things for like a month and a half before I left to college. And I don't know if I've shared this before, but I originally was going to go in 2020 CIT, and then it got canceled for obvious reasons. Um, but like now I see why I couldn't go 2020. Um, like God had so much to teach me that I think if I would have done it last year, I would not have been ready for it. Even just some things that God had already been working on me that really solidified that I needed to work on. God showed me so much about himself those 2 weeks that I probably was not in the right place to hear summer 2020. And also coming off those two classes, I had that much more background information, knowledge, and just greater understanding of the Bible on just so many different topics. And so then CIT was just like the next step. It was like, okay, now you know all this stuff. How do you make that your Christian character? And how will you let God work in you? One of the things that they consistently said, self-control is only worthwhile if it's spirit control. And I was really taken aback by that because I always thought self-control was just like willing yourself not to do sin and to stay out of temptation. But they made the point that the only way that self-control lasts is if you're fully yielded to the Spirit, and then the Holy Spirit will work in you to change your desires from to God's desires and God's ways, and then how He's the one who sanctifies us. It's not us just like avoiding sin. It has to be the Holy Spirit to completely transform us. So that was a huge area of growing, honestly, just realizing that I could not become Christ-like on my own. I could not stop sinning on my own. It is only through the Holy Spirit that I can do that. So that was another big lesson that God taught me in at CIT, and honestly, so many ways, but that was just one of the big things. I'll link that video down below so you guys can watch that. So then I was home for a month and a half. I got back on track with my devotions. I was doing well. I felt like I was definitely in a good place to start college. And I still think that. I think I still was in a good place. Like going to college, having just did CIT, I knew a lot of friends there. So honestly, I wasn't expecting college to be that hard. And I had done like college classes. I had done like over a full semester of dual enrollment. I've done hard high school classes. Like I was used to, a good workload, a hard workload. I did pretty well for the first couple weeks, couple months, and then it started getting so hard. Mid-October, early November, like right around midterms, like a couple weeks around there, I was struggling. Like I really, I was very anxious about like my grades and just having the time to do everything. I also work at school, so like had to fit that in. There's just so many factors, like big projects all around the same time. I was pushed to the limit. And I'm a very like get it done type person. I'm typically very like self-motivated. I like getting things done on my own. And I normally can accomplish like pretty much what I need to. But that was not something I could have done on my own. And to be honest, it's literally God's strength that sustained me through those couple weeks, and just like His grace too, because I didn't have as much time to be my Bible as I wanted, but He showed Himself in so many ways. It was just so cool to see how He was so good and so kind just to me in my like hardest weeks of school. And He was still there. He was still present even when I wasn't as faithful as I should have been. And that just tells so much about God. Like He doesn't change. Even if we fall away or we neglect our time with Him, like God is still faithful and He still wants us to come to Himself. And so that is something, again, that I learned around October in 2021. I continue to grow throughout the semester, and honestly, I love my college so much. Just the Christian atmosphere, the excellent teachers. I've had so many great friends, just like gospel conversations. And I'm learning so much of how to live like a Christian. Even like choosing a church, something you wouldn't necessarily think of as that hard. I did struggle a little bit with that. That was cool to see. Just how he led me through that process, the different things I was able to observe and just be part of in different local churches in South Carolina. So that's what I learned in 2021. I'm sure there's probably many more things. That's what I could think of for this video. Um, God is so faithful and so good, so kind. I have learned that this year more than ever before, in so many ways. And I hope that you see that too in your own life. Comment down below what God taught you this year. I think is so, so encouraging just to see how you're growing personally, either like what you're learning about the Bible or how you're knowing God more. Those are my favorite conversations to have. So please let us know down in the comments what you learned about God 2021, and also maybe what are some things you want to do better in 2022. We have a new year, and so we can kind of have a fresh start. We can see some things we want to change and move on. We can try to really strengthen those gifts that God has given us and just pursue Him at a deeper level. So, anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and have a great new year.